Commander Vextar stood before the massive holographic display showing the Epsilon sector and felt his stomach turn cold. Red markers dotted the star map like blood drops, each one marking a lost convoy or destroyed patrol. In just 3 months, his hegemony fleet had lost 47 ships to something they could not see, could not track, and could not fight. "Show me the last attack again," Vextar ordered his intelligence officer. The hologram shifted to show the wreckage of transport. Group 7 floating in the darkness of space. Twisted metal and scattered cargo containers drifted where once 12 massive freighters had carried vital supplies to the front lines of the war. The attack lasted exactly 4 minutes and 37 seconds. The officer reported. No distress. Calls were sent. No escape pods were launched. The attacking vessel appeared on sensors for less than 20 seconds, before vanishing completely. Vextar studied the energy readings from the attack. The weapon signatures matched nothing in their vast databases. The propulsion system used technology that their best scientists claimed was impossible. Most disturbing of all, the ship seemed to appear from nowhere and disappear just as quickly. "Sir, we have a communication from Admiral Zekthara of the Dominion Fleet," his communications officer announced. The hologram shifted to show the scarred face of the Dominion's most feared commander. Zekthara's yellow eyes glowed with contempt as he spoke. "Vextar, your pathetic excuses about ghost ships are becoming tiresome. Perhaps if you spent less time chasing shadows and more time fighting real battles, you would not be losing so many ships." "The attacks are real, Zekthara," Vextar replied calmly. "Your own shipping lanes have been hit as well. Check your reports from the Kepler system." Zekthara's expression darkened. "Minor incidents caused by pirates and scavengers. Nothing. More than humans stealing scraps from the table of their betters. These primitive creatures barely understand the technology they have stolen from us. The energy signatures suggest otherwise," Vextar said, transmitting the data. "This technology is beyond anything we have seen from human colonies." Zekthara studied the readings for a moment before dismissing them with a wave of his clawed hand. "Clever tricks and illusions. Humans are good at running and hiding, nothing more. When I find their little ship, I will crush it like the insect it is." The transmission ended, leaving Vextar alone with his doubts. He had fought humans before during the initial expansion into their territory. They were stubborn and resourceful, but their technology was clearly inferior to hegemony standards. Yet something had changed. Something new was hunting in the darkness between the stars. Meanwhile, millions of kilometers away in the hidden depths of the asteroid belt, High Marshal Quindal of the Coalition received his own reports about the mysterious attacks. Unlike his rivals, Quindal took the threat seriously. His intelligence network was the best in the galaxy, and his agents had gathered disturbing information about human activities. "The humans have been very quiet lately," his aide reported. "Too quiet. Our spies report massive construction projects in their core systems, but we cannot determine what they are building." Quindal nodded slowly. He had survived 3 wars by never underestimating his enemies. "Double our patrols along the human border. I want to know what they are planning." Far from the alien fleets in the depths of space where no star shone brightly enough to illuminate the darkness, the human ship Indomitable drifted silently. From the outside, it looked like no ship that had ever sailed between the stars. Its hull seemed to bend light around it, making it nearly impossible to see even at close range. Strange energy patterns danced along its surface like living lightning. Captain Lee Hyun-woo stood on the bridge and watched the tactical display showing the positions of all 3 alien fleets. His dark eyes missed nothing as he studied their movements and weaknesses. Beside him, Lieutenant Kim Ji-hai monitored the quantum sensors that could detect ships across vast distances without being detected themselves. "The hegemony has moved their supply depot to the Vega system," Kim Ji-hai reported. "Minimal escort, 3 destroyers and a light cruiser." Lee Hyun-woo nodded. "Good. That will send another message. Chief Park, are our weapons ready?" Chief Petty Officer Park Dong-min looked up from his engineering console. His hands moved quickly over controls that would have baffled the greatest alien scientists. All systems green, Captain. The reality distortion field is stable, and our quantum torpedoes are fully charged. Excellent. Lee Hyun-woo turned to his tactical officer. Sergeant Major Choi, prepare the boarding teams. We need to capture their navigation computers intact this time. Sergeant Major Choi Sang-ho grinned, showing teeth that had been sharpened for intimidation. My Marines are ready, sir. We will get you those computers. The Indomitable was not just a ship. It was humanity's greatest secret. Built in the hidden shipyards of the outer colonies using technology that had been discovered in ancient ruins on Mars, it represented everything humans had learned about war, science, and survival in a hostile galaxy. The aliens thought humans were primitive scavengers fighting with stolen technology. They had no idea how wrong they were. Captain, came a voice from the communications station. We are receiving a coded transmission from Earth Command. Lee Hyun-woo walked over to read the message. His expression did not change, but Kim Ji-hae noticed his hands tighten slightly on the railing. After 70 years of preparation, the time had finally come. New orders, Lee Hyun-woo announced to his crew. We are no longer hunting supply convoys. Command wants us to send a stronger message to our alien friends. He turned back to the tactical display showing the 3 alien fleets locked in their endless war. Soon they would learn what humans were truly capable of. Soon they would understand that the ghost ship hunting in the darkness was not just real, but was only the beginning of something much larger. The Indomitable began to move through space, like a predator stalking its prey, invisible to alien sensors, silent as death itself. Behind it, hidden in dimensions the aliens did not even know existed, 12 more human ships followed in perfect formation. The hunt was about to become something much more dangerous. The meeting took place in neutral space, aboard a massive space station that had been built specifically for diplomatic encounters. Commander Vextar, Admiral Zek Thara, and High Marshal Quindal sat around a triangular table, their ancient hatred temporarily set aside for a common purpose. The holographic displays around them showed star charts, fleet positions, and most importantly, the growing list of ships lost to the phantom human vessel. 30 more ships in the past week, Quindal said, his voice carrying the weight of command. This ghost ship is becoming more than an annoyance. It is disrupting our entire war effort. Zek Thara slammed his fist on the table, making the holographic displays flicker. I refuse to believe that primitive humans have built something we cannot destroy. One ship, no matter how advanced, cannot stand against our combined might. Vextar studied the latest attack reports. The pattern is clear. The ship strikes supply lines, communication relays, and isolated patrols. It avoids direct confrontation with our main battle groups. This suggests the humans understand they cannot win a straight fight. Then we give them no choice, Quindal said. We create a situation they cannot resist, and when they take the bait, we crush them with overwhelming force. The plan they developed was simple and brutal. They would create a fake diplomatic convoy in the Kepler 442 system, making it appear as though the 3 factions were attempting to negotiate a peace treaty. The convoy would be lightly defended, making it an irresistible target for the human ship. Meanwhile, a combined fleet of over 200 warships would hide in the asteroid belt, waiting to spring the trap. The humans will see an opportunity to strike a decisive blow against all 3 factions at once, Vextar explained. Their arrogance will not allow them to resist such a target. 3 days later, the trap was set. The fake diplomatic convoy consisted of 12 transport ships disguised as luxury liners, protected by only a handful of light escorts. Hidden throughout the asteroid belt, the greatest naval force ever assembled in the sector waited in perfect silence. Every ship had powered down non-essential systems to avoid detection. Every crew member knew that the survival of their respective empires might depend on the success of this mission. Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Lee Hyun-woo studied the tactical display with the calm expression of a man who had seen through every deception his enemies could devise. Commander Yoon So-young stood beside him, her own analysis of the situation complete. "It is obviously a trap," So-young said quietly. "The convoy formation is wrong. The escort pattern makes no tactical sense, and our deep sensors are detecting massive energy signatures in the asteroid belt." Lee Hyun-woo nodded. "Dr. Han, what are your readings showing?" Dr. Han Min-seok looked up from his science station, his instruments capable of detecting things the aliens could not even imagine. 237 ships, sir. Roughly equal numbers from all three factions. They are maintaining communication silence, but their quantum signatures are clear." Major Lim Jae-sung approached from the marine section of the bridge. "Sir, this seems like an excellent opportunity to test our new capabilities. We have been running simulation drills for months." Lee Hyun-woo allowed himself a small smile. The aliens thought they were setting a trap, but they had no idea what they were really dealing with. "Very well. Signal the fleet. Initiate Protocol Ragnarok." The Indomitable dropped out of hyperspace directly in front of the fake diplomatic convoy, exactly as the aliens had hoped it would. From their hidden positions, the alien commanders watched with satisfaction as the human ship appeared on their sensors, like a fish taking bait. "Target acquired," Admiral Zekthara reported to his fleet. "The arrogant humans have finally made their fatal mistake." But something was wrong. The human ship was not moving to attack. It drifted silently in space, all weapon systems powered down, showing no energy signatures except for basic life support. It looked like a derelict vessel floating dead in space. Commander Vextar felt uneasiness crawling up his spine. "This does not feel right. Why would they just sit there?" High Marshal Quindal was equally puzzled. Perhaps their engines failed when they dropped out of hyperspace. Or maybe they detected our trap and are trying to surrender. Zekthara laughed harshly. More likely, their primitive technology finally broke down at the worst possible moment. "I am moving in to finish them." The alien fleets began to close in from all directions, emerging from their hiding places in the asteroid belt like hunters, surrounding wounded prey. 237 warships moved with deadly precision, their weapons charging, their shields at maximum power. The human ship continued to drift helplessly, making no attempt to escape or fight back. Aboard the Indomitable, Lieutenant Kim Ji-hai watched the tactical display as the alien ships moved into position. "All enemy fleets are committed, Captain. They are moving into the kill zone exactly as predicted." Lee Hyun-woo studied the positions carefully. The aliens had deployed in a perfect encirclement pattern with no way to retreat quickly if something went wrong. They were so focused on their prey that they had failed to maintain proper tactical spacing between their own ships. "Chief Park, are our quantum phase generators ready?" Lee Hyun-woo asked. Park Dong-min ran his hands over controls that manipulated the very fabric of space and time. "All systems optimal, sir. The fleet is standing by in phase space, waiting for your signal." "Sergeant Major Choi, prepare the boarding parties. We are going to need prisoners for intelligence gathering." Choi Sang-ho checked his weapons one final time. "Ready and eager, Captain." The alien fleets were now close enough to see the Indomitable with their own eyes. The human ship looked smaller than they had expected, its strange hull design unlike anything in their databases. It continued to drift silently, offering no resistance as death approached from all sides. "All ships, prepare to fire," Admiral Zekthara commanded. "We will vaporize this ghost ship and end the human threat forever." But as the alien weapons powered up to full charge, ready to unleash enough firepower to destroy a small moon, something impossible happened. The space around the Indomitable began to shimmer like heat waves rising from hot ground. Reality itself seemed to bend and twist, and suddenly the human ship was no longer alone. Dr. Han Min-seok smiled as his instruments registered the successful phase transition. Fleet emergence complete, Captain. All ships are now in normal space and ready for combat. Where moments before there had been only one helpless human ship, now 13 vessels hung in the darkness of space. The Indomitable was joined by 12 other ships that seemed to have materialized from nowhere, their hulls gleaming with the same strange energy that made them nearly invisible to conventional sensors. Commander Vextar stared at his tactical display in shock. "That is impossible! Where did those ships come from?" High Marshal Quindal was already shouting orders to his fleet. "All ships, evasive maneuvers! We are facing an unknown number of enemy vessels." But Admiral Zekathara remained confident even in the face of this surprise. 13 ships against 237. The odds are still overwhelmingly in our favor. All ships, attack pattern Alpha. Destroy them all. The first salvo of alien weapons lit up space like a miniature star being born. Thousands of energy beams, plasma bolts, and quantum torpedoes streaked toward the 13 human ships with enough destructive power to crack a planet. The alien. Commanders watched their displays with satisfaction, certain that no force in the galaxy could survive such overwhelming firepower. But when the brilliant flashes faded and the energy dissipated, all 13 human ships remained exactly where they had been. Not one showed even the slightest damage from the devastating attack. "Impossible," Admiral Zekathara whispered, staring at his tactical display in disbelief. Nothing could survive that barrage. Commander Vextar was already analyzing the sensor data from the attack. "Sir, the energy readings are unusual. It appears their defensive systems are operating on principles we do not understand." Aboard the Indomitable, Captain Lee Hyun-woo calmly observed the alien fleet's confusion. The quantum phase shields that protected his ships were based on technology found in the ancient Martian ruins, technology that existed partially outside normal space-time. Conventional weapons simply passed through matter that was not entirely present in their reality. "All ships, execute attack pattern Omega," Lee Hyun-woo commanded. "Show them what real weapons can do." The human response was swift and devastating. The Indomitable's main guns fired projectiles that traveled at 98% of light speed, striking their targets almost instantly. But these were not ordinary projectiles. Chief Park Dong-min had designed them to phase in and out of normal space, allowing them to pass through alien shields as if they were not there at all. The heavy cruiser Defiant, commanded by Captain Bay Junho, opened fire with weapons that seemed to bend space itself around their targets. Alien ships found their own shields turning inward, crushing them with gravitational forces that exceeded anything found near a black hole. The stealth destroyer Shadow, under Captain Oh Hyojin, lived up to its name by becoming completely invisible to alien sensors before striking from impossible angles. Its weapons fired rounds that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously, hitting the same target from several different directions at once. "Evasive maneuvers!" High Marshal Quindal shouted to his fleet, but his ships were too large and too slow to avoid weapons that moved at near light speed. 3 coalition battleships exploded in massive fireballs as the human projectiles tore through their hulls like paper. The alien fleets tried to adapt, but everything they had learned about space combat became useless against an enemy that fought, according to completely different rules. Their formation discipline broke down as ship after ship fell to weapons that seemed to ignore the laws of physics. Sergeant Major Choi Sang-ho led his boarding parties through quantum phase tunnels that allowed them to appear directly inside enemy vessels. The alien crews found themselves facing human marines who seemed to walk through walls and whose weapons could fire around corners. Within minutes, Choi had captured the navigation computers from 6 different ships. Dr. Han Min-seok coordinated an electronic warfare assault that turned the aliens' own technology against them. Computer viruses designed by human programmers spread through alien networks, causing weapons to target their own ships and navigation systems to plot courses directly into asteroid fields. "This is not possible," Commander Vextar said as he watched his flagship's sister ship tear itself apart with its own weapons. "How can primitive humans possess such advanced technology?" The answer came from Captain Lee Hyun-woo himself, who opened communications to all alien ships simultaneously. His calm voice echoed across the battlefield as human ships continued their systematic destruction of the alien fleet. "You call us primitive," Lee Hyun-woo said, his words carrying clearly through the chaos of battle. "You think we are scavengers, picking up scraps of technology we do not understand. You believe we are nothing more than clever animals playing with tools made by our betters." A hegemony cruiser exploded as Lieutenant Kim Ji-hai targeted its reactor with a weapon that fired through time itself, striking the ship several seconds before the trigger was pulled. "You are wrong," Lee Hyun-woo continued. "We have been watching you for decades. We have studied your technology, learned your tactics, and discovered your weaknesses. Every battle you have fought, every ship you have built, every weapon you have designed. We have been taking notes." Admiral Zekthara tried to rally his remaining ships. "All vessels, focus fire on their command ship. Bring everything we have to bear on that one target." 23 Dominion ships turned their weapons toward the Indomitable and fired simultaneously. The combined firepower could have vaporized a small moon, but the human flagship simply phased out of normal space-time for the microsecond it took the attack to pass harmlessly through the area where it had been. "Your weapons are useless," Lee Hyun-woo said, as the Indomitable reappeared exactly where it had been. "Your tactics are predictable. Your technology is obsolete. You have spent so much time fighting each other that you never learned to fight us." Captain Bae Jun-ho maneuvered the Defiant through the alien formation like a shark moving through a school of fish. His ship's reality-warping weapons created localized distortions in space-time that caused enemy vessels to age millions of years, in seconds, turning proud warships into clouds of ancient dust. High Marshal Quindal watched in horror as his entire fleet was methodically dismantled by an enemy force less than 1/10 its size. "How is this happening? How can 13 ships defeat 200? The answer became clear as the battle continued. The human ships moved with perfect coordination, each one knowing exactly where the others would be and what they would do. Their weapons never missed, their defenses never failed, and their tactics adapted instantly to every alien countermove. Captain Oh Hae-jin brought the Shadow alongside a massive coalition battleship and fired a single shot that seemed to travel backwards, through time. The enemy vessel exploded before her weapons had finished charging, destroyed by an attack that had not yet been launched. "Retreat!" Commander Vextar finally ordered his remaining ships. "All vessels, emergency jump to hyperspace. We cannot win this battle." But even retreat proved impossible. Dr. Han Min-seok had activated quantum field generators that created a localized disruption in space-time around the entire battlefield. Ships trying to enter hyperspace found themselves thrown back into normal space, often spinning wildly out of control. "There will be no escape," Lee Hyun-woo announced, as the human ships continued their devastating assault. "Not until you understand the message we are sending." Major Lim Jae-sung coordinated Marine boarding parties that captured ship after ship, taking prisoners who would spread word of this battle throughout the galaxy. The aliens who survived would remember this day and tell others what they had witnessed. As the battle reached its climax, only a handful of alien ships remained operational out of the original fleet of 237. The space around Kepler 442 was filled with debris and the twisted wreckage of vessels that had represented the pride of 3 galactic empires. Admiral Zekthara found his flagship surrounded by human ships, his weapons destroyed, his engines dead. Through his view screen, he could see the Indomitable approaching like a predator closing in for the kill. "This is impossible," he whispered to himself. "We are the masters of this galaxy. We are the advanced civilizations. How can humans possess technology that makes our greatest achievements look like primitive tools?" The answer would soon become clear, but not in the way any of the alien survivors expected. The silence that followed the destruction of the alien fleet was broken only by the soft hum of the Indomitable's engines, as it drifted among the wreckage of what had once been the most powerful naval force in the sector. Twisted metal and debris from 200 destroyed warships floated in the darkness like a graveyard of shattered dreams and broken pride. Captain Lee Hyun-woo stood on his bridge, studying the tactical display that showed the positions of the 17 alien ships that had survived the battle. These vessels hung motionless in space, their weapons destroyed, their engines crippled, their crews stunned by the magnitude of their defeat. Among them was Admiral Zekthara's flagship, its proud hull scarred and blackened, but still intact. Open. Communications to all surviving vessels, Lee Hyun-woo commanded. It is time they learned the truth. Lieutenant Kim Ji-hai activated the communications array, and Lee Hyun-woo's image appeared on every alien ship simultaneously. The human captain looked exactly as he had at the beginning of the battle. Calm, composed, and completely in control. I am Captain Lee Hyun-woo of the Earth Alliance vessel Indomitable, he began, his voice carrying clearly through the vacuum of space. You are probably wondering how this is possible. You want to know how 13 human ships could destroy a fleet of over 200 of your best warships. You need to understand how creatures you consider primitive savages could possess technology that makes your greatest achievements look like stone tools. Admiral Zekthara, his face twisted with rage and humiliation, activated his own communications system. This is some kind of trick. Humans could never develop such weapons on their own. You must have stolen this technology from someone else. Lee Hyun-woo smiled, but there was no warmth in the expression. Stolen? No, Admiral. We built this technology ourselves using principles we discovered in ruins on Mars over a century ago. But the real secret is not the technology itself. The real secret is time. Commander Vextar, listening from his own damaged flagship, felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean? We have been watching you for 73 years, Lee Hyun-woo replied. From the moment our first deep space probes detected your civilizations, we began studying you. We recorded every battle you fought, analyzed every tactic you used, and cataloged every weakness in your technology. The human captain gestured, and holographic displays appeared around his image, showing detailed schematics of alien ships, weapon systems, and shield configurations. The level of detail was staggering. Every bolt, every circuit, every structural weakness had been mapped and analyzed. While you were fighting your endless wars against each other, we were learning, Lee Hyun-woo continued. We captured your scout ships, interrogated your crews, and reverse-engineered your technology. But we did not stop there. We improved upon everything we found. High Marshal Quindall, who had been silent until now, spoke up from his battered command ship. Impossible. Our technology is thousands of years more advanced than anything humans could create. Your technology is stagnant, Lee Hyun-woo corrected him. You became so confident in your superiority that you stopped innovating. For millennia, you have been building the same ships, using the same weapons, fighting the same battles. Meanwhile, humanity has been evolving. Dr. Han Min-seok activated a new holographic display showing the quantum phase technology that had made the human victory possible. The complex equations and energy patterns were unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. This is what we discovered in the Martian ruins, Han Min-seok explained. Technology left behind by a civilization that existed before your species even evolved. But the ancient builders only left us the basic principles. Everything else, the applications, the weapons, the defensive systems, that is purely human innovation. Commander Vextar studied the displays with the eye of an experienced military engineer. Even with advanced technology, 13 ships should not be able to defeat 200. The mathematics do not work. The mathematics work perfectly when you understand the real situation, Lee Hyun-woo said. You assumed you were fighting 13 ships. You were wrong. The space around the human fleet began to shimmer again, and suddenly the battlefield was filled with hundreds of additional vessels. Ship after ship materialized from quantum phase space, their hulls gleaming with the same strange energy signatures as the original 13. Battleships, cruisers, destroyers, and vessels of configurations the aliens had never seen before, all of them flying human colors. 547 ships, Lee Hyun-woo announced calmly. This is the true strength of the Earth Alliance fleet. We have been building in secret for decades, preparing for this moment when we would announce our presence to the galaxy. Admiral Zek Thera stared at the massive human fleet in shock. This is not possible. Our intelligence networks would have detected construction on this scale. Your intelligence networks see only what we want them to see, Lee Hyun-woo replied. We built these ships in hidden facilities throughout our territory, using manufacturing techniques you cannot comprehend. Each vessel is equipped with quantum phase technology that allows it to exist outside normal space-time when necessary. Captain. Bae Jun-ho moved the Defiant alongside Zek Thara's flagship, its weapons trained on the alien ship's bridge. Admiral, you are now a prisoner of war. Prepare to be boarded. I will never surrender to primitive humans. Zek Thara snarled, reaching for his ship's self-destruct controls. But Sergeant Major Choi Sang-ho was already aboard the alien flagship, having used quantum phase technology to walk through the ship's hull as if it were not there. His hand caught Zek Thara's wrist before the alien could complete the command. I would not recommend that course of action, Choi said politely, his enhanced strength easily restraining the much larger alien. The captain has questions for you. Similar scenes were playing out on the other surviving alien ships as human. Marines materialized inside their hulls and took control. The aliens found themselves prisoners on their own vessels, helpless to resist captors who seemed to be able to walk through solid matter at will. Major Lim Jae-sung coordinated the boarding, operations from his command post on the Indomitable. All ships secured, Captain. Prisoners are being processed and intelligence data is being downloaded from their computers. Excellent work, Major, Lee Hyun-woo said. Then he turned his attention back to the alien commanders. You wanted to know how this was possible. Now you understand. We did not win this battle through superior numbers or advanced technology alone. We won because we prepared. Commander Vextar, now under guard on his own bridge, asked the question that was haunting all the survivors. How long have you been planning this? Since the day we first detected your transmission 73 years ago, Lee Hyun-woo answered. We knew that eventually, one of your three empires would turn their attention to human space. We decided it would be better to act first. But this was just one battle, High Marshal Quindal protested. You cannot conquer the entire galaxy with 500 ships, no matter how advanced they are. Lee Hyun-woo's smile became genuinely frightening. Who said anything about 500 ships? The holographic displays around the alien prisoners changed to show star maps of the entire galaxy. Red markers appeared throughout space, each one indicating a human fleet engaged in simultaneous operations against alien targets. Hundreds of markers. Thousands of markers. Operation Prometheus began 6 hours ago, Lee Hyun-woo announced. At this very moment, human fleets are engaged with your forces in every major system throughout the galaxy. Your supply bases, your shipyards, your communication networks, your planetary defenses, all of them are under attack by forces you never knew existed. The scale of the human operation was breathtaking. For decades, they had been secretly positioning fleets throughout the galaxy, using quantum phase technology to remain hidden until the moment of attack. The three alien empires were not facing a single enemy fleet. They were facing a coordinated assault on every aspect of their civilization. This is not war, Vextar whispered in horror. This is extermination. No, Lee Hyun-woo corrected him. This is evolution. Your empires have ruled this galaxy for millennia. fighting endless wars that accomplished nothing except mutual destruction. That era is now over. A new power has risen, and we will bring order to the chaos you have created." 3 months after the Battle of Kepler 442, Admiral Zekthara sat in his cell aboard the human prison ship Redemption and stared at the reports coming in from across the galaxy. Every day brought news of another alien stronghold falling to human forces, another fleet destroyed, another world surrendering without a fight. The 3 great empires that had dominated the galaxy for millennia were crumbling like ancient buildings in an earthquake. The door to his cell opened with a soft hiss, and Captain Lee Hyun-woo entered. The human looked exactly as he had during the battle, calm, composed, and completely in control. He carried a datapad containing the latest intelligence reports. "Good morning, Admiral," Lee Hyun-woo said politely. "I thought you might want to know how your former empire is faring." Zekthara looked up with eyes that had lost their former fire. The proud alien warrior who had once commanded fleets and conquered worlds was now a broken prisoner wearing simple gray clothing. "Why do you torment me with these reports? Is it not enough that you have destroyed everything I worked to build?" Lee Hyun-woo sat down across from the alien, his expression showing neither cruelty nor sympathy. "I show you these reports because I want you to understand what is happening. Your Dominion officially surrendered to human forces yesterday. High Admiral Kex Thule signed the treaty aboard our flagship Invincible in the Centauri system." "Kex Thule is a coward," Zekthara muttered. "In my day, Dominion commanders would die before surrendering to an inferior species." "Your day is over," Lee Hyun-woo replied simply. "The Dominion military has been disbanded. Your ships have been scrapped or converted to civilian use. Your weapons factories are now producing medical supplies and farming equipment. Your soldiers are learning new trades as teachers, engineers, and farmers." Zekthara laughed bitterly. "You think you can change us so easily? We are a warrior race. We have been fighting for thousands of years. You cannot simply erase our nature with treaties and good intentions." "We are not trying to erase your nature," Lee Hyun-woo said. "We are giving you a chance to direct it towards something constructive. The Dominion colonies that have accepted human oversight are already showing remarkable progress. Crime rates have dropped by 90%. Agricultural production has increased by 300%. For the first time in generations, Dominion, children are growing up without the fear of war." The human captain activated his datapad, showing holographic images of former Dominion worlds. Cities that had been bombed into ruins were being rebuilt. Factories that had produced weapons of war were now manufacturing goods for peaceful trade. Schools were being constructed where military bases once stood. "This is not the way of the Dominion," Zekthara protested. "We are conquerors, not farmers and teachers." "You were conquerors because you knew no other way to survive," Lee Hyun-woo corrected. "Your empire was built on the belief that resources were scarce and that only the strongest deserved to live. We have shown you a different path." The images on the datapad changed to show massive human ships arriving at Dominion worlds carrying supplies instead of weapons. Medical teams were treating alien diseases that had plagued entire populations for centuries. Engineers were building infrastructure that would allow these worlds to thrive without depending on military conquest. "The hegemony fell 2 weeks ago," Lee Hyun-woo continued. "Commander Vextar chose to cooperate with our occupation forces. He has been appointed as a liaison officer, helping to maintain order during the transition period. Unlike you, he understood that resistance would only bring more suffering to his people." Zekthara's hands clenched into fists. Vextar was always weak. A true warrior does not collaborate with his conquerors. A true leader does whatever is necessary to protect his people, Lee Hyun-woo replied. Vextar has saved millions of lives by choosing cooperation over meaningless defiance. His former subjects are grateful for his wisdom. The human captain stood and walked to the small window of the cell, looking out at the stars. "The coalition lasted the longest, but even High Marshal Quindal eventually saw the futility of continued resistance. His surrender came with conditions. He demanded that his people be allowed to maintain their cultural traditions and that human forces would not interfere with their internal governance. "And you agreed to this?" Zekthara asked, surprised. "Of course. We have no interest in destroying alien cultures or enslaving your populations. Our goal was never conquest for its own sake. We simply wanted to end the cycle of endless warfare that was consuming the galaxy." Li Hyun-woo turned back to face his prisoner. "Do you know what the galaxy looks like now, Admiral? Trade routes that have been closed for decades are open again. Scientific research stations are being built where battlefields once raged. Species that have been enemies for millennia are working together on projects that benefit everyone." The datapad showed images of mixed crews working aboard human ships, Dominion engineers working alongside hegemony scientists, coalition traders collaborating with human merchants. Former enemies were learning to see each other as colleagues and friends. "It will not last," Zekthara said stubbornly. "As soon as your forces are withdrawn, the old hatreds will return. War is the natural state of the galaxy." "Perhaps it was," Li Hyun-woo agreed. "But we are not withdrawing our forces. The Earth Alliance is now a permanent presence in galactic affairs. We have established bases in every major system, and our fleets patrol the trade routes to ensure that commerce can flow freely." The human captain sat back down and looked directly into Zekthara's eyes. "Let me tell you what your future holds, Admiral. You will remain our prisoner for exactly 1 more year. During that time, you will receive daily reports about the transformation of your former empire. You will watch as your people discover the benefits of peace and prosperity." "And after that year?" Zekthara asked. "After that year, you will be given a choice. You can remain in prison for the rest of your life, a relic of a bygone age. Or you can accept a position in the new galactic government, using your experience and knowledge to help build a better future for all species." Zekthara stared at the human in disbelief. "You would trust a former enemy with such responsibility?" "We would trust a former enemy who has learned from his mistakes," Li Hyun-woo corrected. "Many of your former officers have already accepted similar positions. They are helping to train new peacekeeping forces and establish trade agreements between former enemy worlds." The alien admiral sat in silence for several minutes, processing what he had heard. Finally, he asked the question that had been haunting him since his capture. "Why? Why did you humans do this? You could have simply destroyed us all and taken the galaxy for yourselves. Why show mercy to those who would have shown you none?" Li Hyun-woo smiled, and for the first time, there was genuine warmth in his expression. "Because destruction is easy, Admiral. Any species can master the art of warfare. The real challenge is learning how to build something better from the ashes of what came before." He stood to leave, then paused at the door. "We studied your civilizations for 70 years, Admiral. We learned not just your weaknesses, but your strengths as well. The Dominion's discipline, the hegemony's scientific curiosity, the coalition's diplomatic skills. These are valuable assets that the galaxy needs. We did not want to destroy them. We wanted to redirect them toward positive goals." As the door closed behind the human captain, Admiral Zekthara was left alone with his thoughts. Outside his window, the stars seemed different somehow, brighter, more hopeful. For the first time in his adult life, he found himself contemplating a future without war. Across the galaxy, the transformation continued. On 1,000 worlds, former soldiers were learning to be teachers and healers. Ancient enemies were working together to solve problems that had plagued the galaxy for generations. And somewhere in the depths of space, human ships continued their patient vigil, ensuring that the new age of peace would endure. The aliens had said the human ship did not exist until it tore through their Armada and changed the course of galactic history forever. Now they were learning that humanity's greatest weapon had never been their advanced technology or their superior tactics. It had been their vision of what the galaxy could become when the shooting finally stopped.